Okay, so this is another Spock Alberta update with some new additions to the layout and some interesting things that I've picked up over the last month or so. When you're looking at one of them right now, a new building that sits in one corner of the layout. Okay, so these are two little bush kits that I picked up in when I was in Europe. They're kiosks, kind of obviously, which I've done up as food stands. We'll show you the prototype or whatever. Both are based on real food stands, if you will, in southern Alberta. Although Moto Burrito is really a truck, and Vulcan Pizza, which is in Vulcan, is a full-size store. So this is presumably little branch operations in Spock, Alberta. Okay, so there you go. They look pretty cool, and they have some interior detail which you can't see in this light. There's some burners in there, and I've put decorations on all sides. Just turn them around. So the Moto Burrito obviously has a kind of Mexican theme, and Vulcan Pizza, I think, is fairly obvious. Okay, so this is a new module, a new island, and this really illustrates what I mean by islands. I live in an apartment, so this is my laundry room makeshift workshop. And so I assembled the bits of scenery on foam board, you can see here. I assembled an entire module that fits into a specific spot in the layout. And I can do that here in the workshop and get everything set and everything comfortable. Comfortable in the sense that it's much easier to work at close range on one of these modules than trying to work all the way across the table or work at especially for this, which is going to go to the back. So a couple things to point out about the module itself. So here we've put in those little kiosks. I've added figures. I don't know if this is going to show up in the shot, but there's people working inside. There's a sandwich board outside of the Moto Burrito stand with it says Happy Fish Taco Friday. Put in some potted plants that are obviously not quote unquote the right scale, but creates the impression of those large planters that sometimes go into public spaces. This is a Walters Merchants Row 2 kit, which I painted myself and decorated with using some of the Walters signs. This is the dewdrop in with the client going in, and this is actually the name of in the logo of a place in Fort Macleod. So this is supposed to suggest Victorian buildings, which you find in many southern Alberta towns, Fort Macleod being the nicest. And then here is Ken's Hobby Shop. Again, the Walther sign, but I thought it was cool to have a hobby shop. The billboard, which has been over by the power pack for quite some time, has now been moved up into this little park, and I've done worked on some of the trees. These trees are really quite cheap, but I pulled them apart a bit to give them a little more shape, and I dusted them with, sprayed them with glue, and then dusted them with ground foam and other types of products to give them a better shape, and they actually look quite good now. So that's it. The billboard will come out. It picks up so that it can be so that the billboard itself, the legend on the billboard, the quote, can be changed anytime I want. So now this module will just be picked up, carried to my where my train set is, and plopped into the spot that was pre-measured for it to go in. And we'll show that in a few minutes. Okay, so now here's the module in place, part of this street scene with an intersection. And there's going to be a little park. I guess I should add some park benches there later on. And then here's the little kiosks and everything. And you can see how it fits in. Let me just try and move around so that you can see the track just fits in around it. There's actually, you can't see it very well from this shot, but there's a ditch molded in there. So there's a ditch between what constitutes my mainline track and these buildings. So there you go. So it just plops into spot. So it needs to be levered up to get to the level of the track and the other parts of the road. But that's a relatively. I just put some pieces of foam board or cardboard underneath, depending on how high I need it. Anyway, so now it fits in fairly nicely, and it fits in. And this side of the layout is starting to look kind of get together. Missing one module where you see the containers, and that will be an intermodal module, and this side will be pretty much done. So this is another piece of non-operating scenery, if you will. It's a piece of scenery that has nothing to do with actual railroad operations. It's a construction scene, and it uses a Walters kit for a construction building office, and that's based on kind of like a prototype. I'll probably show that afterwards of a building, of a container building that was in that unnamed or nearly named prototype or near prototype. And then this is these are Woodland Scenic's construction crew. The mounds of dirt were made with plaster, basically. And then this is a Viking front end loader that I picked up in when I was in Europe a couple weeks ago. Anyway, so this just sits on the end of the this part of it, and it will be kind of just part of the decoration. So this is a Massey Ferguson tractor. I don't know if you can pick up the Massey Ferguson HO scale from a company called SKIU, S-K-I-U. I'd seen it several months ago in a shop in Madrid, and when I was back just 2 weeks ago, it was still there, luckily, so I picked it up. I think it's perfect for an Alberta, southern Alberta town that has grain operations to have a Massey Ferguson tractor. It'll eventually be pulling out of the one of the grain elevators. And this is a container truck. This is a Herpa model. Again, HO with containers on it. I luckily found this in a local hobby shop. Unusual to find something that sophisticated in a local hobby shop, but I got lucky. It's the same kind of containers, Herpa, same brand that I bought several months ago for the intermodal part of when I eventually build an intermodal yard and get the well cars that are on order. Okay, so that just about wraps it up for this time. It'll be a month or so before I get another update. I'm on my way back north, and we'll pick up some new kits and some new cars, and enough to start working on the grain operations, which is really supposed to be the centerpiece of this layout. And so probably sometime around the end of November, I'll give an update at least on the goodies that I've been able to pick up. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Please like or make comments or tell your friends. And in the meantime, live long and prosper.